we're talking ISOs today. Community ISO days here. We're talking ISOs about pretty much what the rave has been all about lately in Marvel Strike Force. Our Symbiote team. And Symbiotes are pretty amazing in a lot of aspects of the game. Some of them are very good on their own as well. They're actually pretty good in PvP too. I've been using them in PvP lately. Anti-Venom has just gained so much value anywhere in the game. It's funny to see. I am at PvP or two whenever I'm not actually doing any of the tasking, which I know a lot of what entails in this game is the raids, the war and whatnot. But whenever I do end up getting free time, if I'm having a off blitz character that I don't have to do anything but milestones, I will do some PvP from time to time. And I'm gonna tell you guys already, Anti-Venom is really good for PvP. But all right, guys, Symbiotes are here. Where do you guys want to start? Do you want to start from right to left, being that Symbiote Spider-Man is all the way on the left side, and start with Scream?
Sounds good.
All right, let's do this. All right, guys, so Scream, one of the two latest additions to the Symbiote team, cousin of Venom. What are you guys doing with Scream nowadays? And I guess I'll start with Moondancer.
Sure. Right now, I have Scream as a healer. Part of this is I never switched her over from when I ran through DD3 with her. Yeah. And that Ion cost to switch her over. Two, I have her as healer because I run a 3-piece symbiote team for my raids. I run Symbiote Spider-Man, Carnage, Scream with Black Bolt and Yo-Yo.
Oh, wow.
And so I needed somebody to heal Black Bolt and Yo-Yo a little bit. And it just seemed better. Like Scream seemed to be the best spot to, like, I was losing the least by putting healer on her.
Yeah. So you don't have Anti-Venom? I'm just curious. Or do you have Anti-Venom? And you still run?
I do have it.
No.
I do have Anti-Venom, but I run like Scream for the disrupted, up and down, and all that.
Yeah, he does have a pretty strong kick.
Yeah, it helps me get through nodes with troopers in them.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I definitely love Scream. She is the squishiest one of all the Symbiotes. I feel like every single time my poor Anti-Venom is just so worried about her dying, and has to bring her back to life whenever she ends up getting attacked. And I have her at 5 red stars now. She's been surviving a little bit better. So that's, I think also as you develop this Symbiotes, you might want to change the ISOs at times. I think healer has made sense for me in the past. And then I just recently, I want to say a couple of weeks back, I changed her to striker. And I do like her as a striker just because of what her basic ends up doing a lot of times for me in U7.5, where she clears one positive effect. And then if I end up going into someone that has vulnerable, then that's 2 positive effects that I will end up taking from that character. So it can work wonders in that way. But I can tell you that I've seen other people either make her a skirmisher as well and healer. Mandogs, what are you doing with your Scream?
Me and Moondance were talking about this before you jumped in the chat, and what I love about the Symbiotes, and this is a general holistic sort of thought before I go on the screen, is that there's just so many good combinations, and so I think this faction really works on what you're using them in. And so he talked about that before, where it's like, oh, I use them as a healer and stuff like that. I've gone skirmisher, throwing out all those vulnerables, clearing those positive effects. She's definitely the squishiest, and she dies a lot. But that's what I'm currently using at the moment. I've only got a level 3 at the moment. I think my 3 primary are 5, and then her and Venom I'm still working on. But yeah, so I use Skirmisher on her, doing those vulnerabilities, and then we'll go into who I use as the striker a little later. But yeah, just for that extra vulnerabilities and those clearing those positive effects.
So this is how good they are, that we've technically already have myself. I have her as a striker, Mandogs has her as a skirmisher, and then Moondancer has her as a healer. I gotta say, I almost feel like you can do no wrong. You can pretty much give them Fortifier, or you can give them all healers. You can make them, even Raiders. Like I've seen Scream. Some people put Raider on her because of all the multi attacks as well. and it's almost like you can do no wrong with this team.
And I think that they kind of did that on purpose, that they released the Symbiotes team with ISO-8 because they're so flexible to show like the power of each one. I know that like Vivash and a few other people swear by level 5 fortifier on all of them.
Yeah.
And not something that I have the ISO to dump into to test that out, but yeah.
How you doing, Gamma? Welcome. Yes, Sparrow said I use fortifier on all 5 of them. I'm just curious. I want to see what what's showing up on the Remen sheet for them. For Symbiotes, Scream, Striker. Oh, and that's what I have her as, Striker. But I've seen, so see, level 1 Striker. Somebody said Striker, Skirmisher, Skirmish. Striker and Skirmisher have value, though having 3 symbiotes having 3 strikers on the team is too much at times, which makes sense. Yeah, guys. I mean, so many different things when it comes to symbiotes and what we can do with them. It's like I say, I think at the end of the day, they're just extremely flexible. So many things that you can do, right? Oh, hi. We have a visitor.
Like you said before too, I feel like the stronger your Scream is, the more you can push it towards like Fortifier. So that kind of a thing. Whereas you might need her, you might put her as something else lower. Yeah, it's so cool that you can do so many things with them. Like I said, I guess I like the Striker on her because I end up removing twice as many of the buffs in place, but I do like her. I think I've tried her as a Skirmisher too, healer. I've never tried Fortifier, but being that she's so squishy at level 5, she might be a really good Fortifier as well. So once again, plenty of options here, and I'm seeing all kinds of things also in the chat. I've seen that Sparrow says that he put Fortifier on all 5 as well. Gamma said Skirmisher on her, so it's all over the place. It's all over the place.
Basura.
The big rumor is that at level 5 Fortifier, because they gain so much speed and taking so many turns, that they can auto any lane in U.5.
Got it.
All the way to the end boss.
And I think I just heard a new voice. Is that Dapper?
Yes, sir.
Hey, Dapper, how are you today?
What's going on? What's going on, brother?
What are you doing? We kind of already said, like, maybe you could be the tiebreaker right here since everybody's doing everything different on screen. And in fact,
so
we can actually change it when we do our blitzing. But what are you doing with your
to be honest with you, Scream, well, not just Scream, it's just the symbiotes and all. They're all like, there's no real wrong way to use them. You could use all them healers. You could, use Striker. Like for me, I have her as a Striker. Between Scream, Venom, and maybe Anti-Venom, I have them as a Striker. Just because they're basic clears.
Yeah, which
so
I guess
that's
is
the reason why I do it.
Why I've been enjoying her a lot more as of late in that aspect. And a lot of times I will use her in U7 to remove the taunt from somebody annoying like Drax or something like that, so I could start attacking someone else that I want in U7 0.5. But I mean, definitely lots of value here in all the other classes.
Okay, so
as well.
I'll take it back. It's my alt account that has her as a Striker.
What do you have her in your main account as?
Healer.
Yeah, like I said, I don't think we can do anything wrong when it comes to Scream. I mean, Symbiotes as a whole, but Scream. And like I said, I think it was funny because I was going into this ISO community day and I was thinking Symbiotes might be the easiest one to just say, like, agree with everything. Like, oh, this person is going to do Skirmisher. I agree with you. This person is going to do Striker. I agree with you. Just because, like I said, they're so versatile and there's so many classes that are so good for them that you can do no wrong with them. You can even do Raider. Nobody's mentioning Raider, but you can technically even do Raider for Scream as well, and it'll work fantastic for them. So, yeah, 100%. You can definitely switch it up when it comes to like the classes for this team. So, All right, well, what we're gonna do is I'm gonna keep her as a striker right now, but we could definitely try her as a skirmisher or as a healer in blitzes. Like I said, I think it doesn't, when it comes to Scream, there's definitely different reasons for doing it. A lower level Scream 2 with Fortifier level 5 can help her survive a little bit more, healer as well. So just different circumstances, I think, that you can choose a class for Scream. Okay, moving on. Her cousin, Venom. Venom, one of my favorite symbiotes. He is a badass in the comic books and just a badass character as a whole in Marvel. The anti-hero himself. What are you guys doing with Venom?
Well, like I just said earlier, I have Venom as a striker.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with Dapper. 100% striker. If you're not doing something where you're like have them all as healer, all as fortifier, striker is like, yeah, it's premium with that double buff, clear or flip rather.
Yeah,
is basic.
How about you, man dogs? I think this one everybody's going striker so fast so far. But what are you doing with Venom?
Yeah, I'm using striker for the anti-flip.
Yeah.
Positives to negatives. I think Venom, out of all of them, is probably, I mean, yeah, as we've talked about before, if you're using them all as fortifier or healer, it's different. But I think if you're not doing the full team of one class, then I think it's a no-brainer. It's kind of like Black Bolt. It's just too good. He's my only striker.
Yeah.
Actually, no, I'm 100% lying. I've got Anti-Venom too. I lie.
Liar! Liar, pants on fire. Oh, Ibambe in the chat. How you doing, Ibambe? Yeah, and the good thing about him is he is technically, he has a lot of other symbiotes that will go before him, able to land that vulnerable. So the fact that he goes after pretty much all of them, and he can just become the striker, it's just a guaranteed double tap anywhere you're looking at, right? At that point. So, and similar to Scream, same thing. In this case, flip 2 positive effects for negative effects. So it's an amazing basic in the game, especially when you double tap it as a striker. So I've had him myself as a striker as well, but like I said, a good case could be made if you guys want to just do fortifier on all your symbiotes, for them to survive, depending on what U7 you guys are running with them, or if you guys are running them with healer. I've seen all those cases and I've tried them myself and they do work, but I've definitely been using him as a striker as of late.
He's such a phenomenal controller with his ability block, heal block, and the buff flips.
Yeah. Perfect. All right, well, that was the easiest one out of all of them. It's funny because we went from Scream where everybody did 100% 20 million different things. Like there could not be any more ISO classes mentioned, and then we go into Venom and everybody and their mama is just saying striker for Venom, which like I said, we could definitely do other classes for him. We could do healer, we could do fortifier, but I think striker is just so valuable with him in the ISO class. Cool. We're doing good, Ibambe. We're doing ISO Community Day, and like I said, anybody's more than welcome to join the chat. Right now in the voice call, we have Dapper, Mandogs, and Moon Dancer, but the more the merrier. We're trying to see what the community is doing with ISO-8 classes for symbiotes today. So, Anti-Venom, we're here. The latest, most dynamic character that's come in the game in a while. I mean, this guy had everybody salivating for some time, right? Coming into this game. What are you guys doing with Anti-Venom?
Okay, so I right now have him on healer, and I used to have scrimmage on him. I think the reason I went to healer is because of I'm running U755 daily, 100%, and it was that little bit of that he needed, that life, because without it, sometimes he would go down quick.
I can definitely see that. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go for it, man.
I can definitely see the healer and the fortifier to keep that team on. I'm lazy, I'm not going to lie. So once unless it's really needs to be changed, but I've got striker on on the Death Claw. So for Anti-Venom, his Death Claw flips positive. I mean, they have a lot of positive effects, and he does the opposite of a random positive effect on that character. So when he's hitting it, and if you've got that with the T4, then yeah, he's doing 2. And he's removing positive effects. It's so good. It's just so good.
It's so cool because like we have 3 symbiotes in here that the basics already does so much for them. We talked about Venom flipping them. We talked about Scream removing them, and in this case, when you attack with Anti-Venom, you end up applying bleed, and then the opposite of 2 random positive effects on this character to the primary target as well. So the basics are actually what I think makes this team so amazing too. Not many teams out there faction-wise and you take such advantage of the basics. I've done Striker for him myself, but I had him as a healer too. I think Fortifier would also make sense for him, especially because I only have him at 4 stars, so he's kind of like my lowest star level from all the symbiotes right now. Even Scream is already at 5 stars at least. So many things that you can definitely do with him as well.
I've got him as a
Evolver's here too.
I've got him as a striker, and a lot of people have been raving about Anti-Venom, and I just, my Anti-Venom isn't a slouch. It's an 89k G14, and he just isn't needed, in my opinion. Like, I don't know. He hasn't been as impressive for me as a lot of as the other characters.
Yeah.
But I put him as striker again for those extra negative effects, because the more red you see on the board, the better. And I recently took the team through the first at least 3 nodes of DD3, and they one-shot those nodes pretty easily.
Yeah.
At one point, I had 32 stacks of bleed on a Miss Marvel in Node 3.
So I think I'm the smallest account, but I'm gonna disagree. I think the top 3 symbiotes, and you're further in the game, and so you can tell me to shut my cake hole. But I feel
I'm definitely an outlier.
I feel that the 3 symbiotes that you want to invest in is the Anti-Venom for those cleanses, for those heals, those resurrection.
Immunity too. Like, he just does so many things to keep him alive.
And then Symbiote Spider-Man and Carnage. I think if you got those 3, and that's what I usually say on my stream, you got those 3, you're pretty much going to be cruising along. I haven't got up to 7.5, so Dapper and everyone else can tell me to shut up my cake hole, but I think those 3 are the most important.
I don't even.
I mean, it really depends on how you look at it and what game you're using, right?
True.
That's true.
I mean, because sorry, go on.
Oh, I was gonna say like I don't even use Anti-Venom in war against Asgardians. I put Shuri in because he gets yeeted by 148k Hela.
So
I don't know what to tell you about that, but me personally, I use Anti-Venom everywhere. Mine is 92k, all his ability max gear to tier 14, and he is a crucial part of my U7 difficulty 5 raid.
Yeah, I gotta
auto
say,
by like 80% of it. The
I
only
think
thing I don't
give
really
him a
do
little.
is the boss.
I think give him some love. Give him another shot, because I've been finding my Anti-Venom, even at the level that he's at 83. He is so crucial to my U7 runs, and I have Black Bull with kind of like my backup team, but he really does wonders for this team, especially like I said, that basic, him as a striker, he just ends up applying all those buffs back to the rest of the team too if you make him a striker. And then on top of that, just applying immunity half the time is always key for me in U7. So he definitely makes them survive a little bit more. Maybe it's just at how many star levels do you have him at?
I've got him at 5 yellow, 3 red, and like he just gets deleted.
No matter what.
I'm also in the middle lane in U7.5.
Oh, so it might be the lane that you're in too.
Might be the outside lanes, like he just performs excellent, but in the middle lanes, like past the first boss node, like he just gets deleted.
Yeah. Yeah, it might be selecting. It might be some enemies that you're facing against them differently than other people. I think I'm in the outside lane. I don't know where everybody else is in U7 range, but I know at least in the outside lane, he does wonderful. You can get through all three enemy boss nodes, all the raid nodes, all the boss nodes just fine. By the time I have to do something different, I think it's after I get past the third boss node. But they can get me pretty easy down my lane for the majority of U7.5.
Yeah, I'm gonna be out.
Reverend, can you get on the voice?
Sen says he's in the middle lane too, and that they still destroy. So maybe Sen
Sen has a 600k symbiote team though. Too.
Yeah, but Sen is Sen too. Yeah, I was gonna say maybe Sen is doing something different with you. But I will say, I still find tons of value with Anti-Venom. He's still, I guess in my case, he has not disappointed me, and I don't have him at high stars. I have him at 4 stars, but he does a lot of things to make this team kind of go. Him as a striker, which will showcase, right, like I said in the Blitz battle, can do wonders for them, and end up giving back all those positive buzz back to the team too. So I highly love Anti-Venom and what he brings to the table. But Ibame is here too. So Ibame, what are you doing with your Anti-Venom nowadays?
Well, first of all, hello everyone.
Yeah.
Second of all, yeah. So I mean, I feel like Venom's been kind of passed out of the spotlight because of Anti-Venom. But I mean, both their kits are fantastic. You know, one's for a defensive approach, one's for a offensive approach.
Yeah.
I mean, the whole purpose of the Symbiotes, purely because of Carnage's passive, is to get as much turn meter as possible.
Yeah.
And you know, the reason why Carnage and Venom tag team so well is because both of them have the ability to kind of spread negative effects. The only difference between Anti-Venom and Venom, though, in terms of their kits, is that Venom has a shorter cooldown on his special, and Anti-Venom obviously has a very long time to kind of regain that back. And I feel like given Carnage is going to be able to spread ability blocks and heal blocks and whatever negative effects are already applied on the enemies, I feel like Venom for me maybe just takes the cut. I mean, you know, if you look at them from a you know, a kind of bird's eye perspective, they're both fantastic characters, both essential for the Symbiote team. It's just, as I said, it really depends on what game mode you're using and which abilities that you use first, because I've noticed against against Black Order, for example, you're more often than not using Anti-Venom's special first to prevent those slow from Ebony Maw, right? So it's really RNG based, obviously, as always. And sort of what like, to put it simply, Anti-Venom's not going to do enough damage to get the enemy into the red. He just provides sustain, whereas Venom is the opposite, like I said. So you can't really have one without the other. But like I said, it's really a coin toss depending on who you pick. Well, in my opinion,
that's, you know, and I'm glad you brought up that point, because once again, that's what we're saying. This is probably the most versatile team when it comes to ISOs. For that particular reason, it's all matchup dependent too, and what you're using them for. Talked about Black Order, we're talking over here U7 as well. So this team is just pure amazement, and you can definitely almost do no wrong. And I say almost do no wrong because you probably mess up the ISO classes, but the fact that they're so versatile and you can just change up a class and make them slightly different depending on the matchup, you know, talks about how great they are on their own. And I think, like I said, he is the newest Symbiotes. He does bring a lot of value to his team. The fact that you use his special there differently might mean that, you know, you don't make him necessarily a striker. You can make him a skirmisher. You can make him a healer. You can do so many things with this guy. And that's what I love about Symbiotes. This is why this is such a fun discussion, because everybody's doing different things with them nowadays. Cool. Did anybody not get to say what they're doing with Anti-Venom?
And I just want to clarify, I don't feel like Anti-Venom's a bad character compared to other characters. I just don't think he's needed on this team.
Yeah.
Or is as great on this team as people have hyped him to be.
Yeah.
Not to forget, Anti-Venom's only just, I think, 1 or 2 stats higher in terms of speed. So
yeah, he's not the he's not the fastest character in here.
Regardless of who you put Anti-Venom on a team with, he's more often than not going to go last, as Venom is. So it's you know, it's like, the thing is, Anti-Venom is gonna use his abilities last more often than not, which in effect is beneficial to the team, because by the time he's gone, the negative effects are already on the board. Whereas Venom, you've kind of got to keep him alive, just so that he can get those 2 turns of defense unlocked.
Okay, so the controversy. Let's clear it up. I want to hear it one more time what everybody's doing. We'll run down the names. Dapper, what are you doing for him?
Healer.
Ibambe?
I got him as a striker.
Mendogs?
Striker.
And Moondancer?
Striker.
Okay, so most of us striker, but like we said, man, it doesn't matter. This guy's I think he's amazing. I do value him a lot and what he does for this team. I have him as a striker myself, so we're gonna keep him as a striker for at least the Blitz showcase. But you could definitely make him a healer. I think Fortifier, like I said, if it's level 5 and he is low stars, also makes sense for him to survive a little bit more. But many things that you can do with his team, and one of them is changing the ISOs on them. But let me do this real quick because I've been waiting. The people have been asking for Stream Raiders. So let's get this battle out of the way. For honor, baby. 18 of you beautiful people joined. Can we get this W? 58 allies, 7 enemies. I know the riots were starting to come out in the chat. They were about to just ban me from Twitch. Guy said Stream Raiders and he doesn't let us play it. So
Don't worry, you're not as bad as Mandogs.
oh, Mandogs, that true.
Cool. Shots fired.
Shot to the
fired.
knee. He shot your
Wow.
kneecap off with that one. That
Yeah,
that hurt. That hurt a little bit.
The beginning of doing Stream Raiders in the round tables, he did like probably 1 or 2 matches and then he forgot about it.
All right, congrats to Confounder, Hasper, and Sway. Not rigged, I promise. Not rigged at all. But we're getting goodies too. We are getting
Don't worry,
goodies.
Mandogs. I still love you though.
All right, we're going into this one. Drop everything you have. This is the very hard no, the legendary one. I'm gonna drop my
Oh, I got 2
Templar
epics for you then,
on
brother.
this one. Drop it like it's hot on that one. We're gonna need all the love and support. All right, Anti-Venom. Lots of different things. Mainly striker seems to be the case, so we're gonna keep him as a striker. And now we're moving on to one of the baddest villains in the Marvel Universe, Mr. Carnage himself, Maximum Carnage. What are you guys doing with your Carnage nowadays?
I am running Skirmisher.
Skirmisher?
on him.
Let's go.
This is probably the least debatable one. I'm imagining. Well, actually, some of them
you
I
can still
would
make a
debate.
case for something else, but yeah, he goes pretty fast in this team, doesn't he?
He does, especially on that T4 on Frenzied Fury. Removing positive effects, throwing out vulnerabilities left, right, and center. It's good.
Good. It's good, he says.
I alternate between Skirmisher and Healer depending on usage. If I'm using him as a 3-piece with my Black Bolt and Yo-Yo, I tend to go Healer. Otherwise, on the full Symbiote team, he's Skirmisher.
Yeah, sometimes outside of Symbiotes, whenever I've used them, if it's just like Symbiote Spider-Man, Carnage, and I'm using like Black Bolt and Yo-Yo, I will put Healer on him instead. But yeah, I think within Symbiotes, he kind of makes sense as a Skirmisher. At least on my end, I've been using him as a Skirmisher, and I enjoy him. He is a pretty character. He goes a lot of times, and we need those vulnerables so that the other strikers in the team can take advantage of that. So fantastic. Ibambe, what are you doing with your Carnage?
Pretty much exactly what you said. He benefits from going. I think one of the first characters to go. I think he is the first character to go actually.
Yeah.
So yeah, applying that Skirmisher to be able to put the vulnerable. And this is the best thing about this, right? Before ISOs, there wasn't this additional because they also do this, right? Before it was just he puts the bleeds on, but now it's he also can apply vulnerable, which allows the additional strikers. For me, by the way, I don't know if Scream was already mentioned. Have we already mentioned Scream?
Yeah, Scream was the first one we did. I think you joined after.
So yeah, I also have Striker on my Scream, just to clarify. So in addition to the vulnerable that Carnage puts, and I don't know if we've discussed Symbiote Spider-Man. Have we done that as well?
No, Symbiote Spider-Man. We left the goodie, the bad,
okay.
the bad
Well,
John, but we left for last.
All right, fair enough. So I'll leave what I've done with him. But the idea is that having vulnerable being applied straight away allows Anti-Venom or Venom as strikers to attack twice And the best thing about Anti-Venom, given how he goes before Venom, he applies two lots of bleeds in addition to flipping the negative effects on the enemy team, 2 positive effects, and then spreading them to his team. And then Venom comes through and finishes off either with an ability block or a spread or a simple bleed and a flip on his basic.
Yeah. Perfect. Love it. Who hasn't? Who's doing something different? Tell me, Dapper. What are you doing?
No, I'm doing the same thing, but I was going to clarify something as well. That I'm actually using my alt account right now, and when I check my Anti-Venom, I actually have Fortify on him.
You have Fortify on him?
Yes, but the same thing as Mbambe said, that putting skirmisher, marking people vulnerable is very, very crucial with the other characters having striker, especially when you have like Venom, Scream, Anti-Venom. They will do those multiple attacks and have more chances to clear most or all their buffs.
Yep. Makes sense. How about you? I think Moon. Did Moon go, or is it Mendogs that were missing? Who didn't go?
Ibambe?
No, Ibambe already discussed what he does. He does skirmisher on him too.
Yep.
So
I think it's Mendogs.
Mendogs, what are you doing with your Carnage?
I went first.
Oh yeah, he did go first. So that's everybody. That's everybody.
I'll tell you again why Skirmisher and Papa Mendogs recommended, right?
No. We already said it then. Once again, I think most of us, like I said, agreed on Skirmisher on him. He is a speedy character. Like I said, we want the strikers to take advantage of vulnerables being landed by this guy right here. But healer also makes sense. I've used healer on him in the past, and I've heard a lot of people use Fortify on him too, as well. So different options.
Said he uses Raiders for him.
Raider on Carnage as well. Raider,
yeah.
I have never really tried on him, so that's hard for me to say yeah or nay. But I mean, that slaughter multiple attacks as well on multiple targets. So and then he does end up chaining 2 other characters as well. So it might be something to consider on him as well.
Wait, he has a special attack?
Say it again.
He has a special attack?
He has a special. He has a special attack. Yes, the special.
Lies.
Man. All right, but Carnage, Skirmisher. Most of the people have spoken, and I gotta say I agree. I love him as a skirmisher, and I love what the rest of the team ends up doing afterwards with him being a skirmisher. All right, the baddest man in the land, the
big Mama Jama,
the Black King, Spider Symbiote. What is everybody doing with Spider-Man Symbiote nowadays? Which, by the way, my wife, Brownie points to my wife. She got me the new run that's coming out for Symbiote Spider-Man. I don't know where I'd put it, but I'll show it to you guys in a little bit. And I'm enjoying myself, Symbiote Spider-Man. I have been in this game for a while, ever since he came out. As you guys can see, I've been trying to throw everything at him. I have him at level 4 ISOs. I have him at 6 red stars. I've T4'd everything in this guy. I think he's just wonderful, but let's go down the line. Dapper, what are you doing with your Symbiote Spider-Man?
Raider.
You're using Raider on him?
Yeah, I'm trying to make sure that I got on both of them the same thing, but I'm pretty sure I do. But the reason is because I want to spread the vulnerable to everybody, and he has the nice AOE, and even when he does the prolongs the moves, he's at least, if you aim it right, he's taking 3 people, hitting 3 people at the same time. Yeah. So that's the reason why I have him like that. Checking this other account real quick. And yeah, they're both Raiders.
Okay. Makes sense. Ibambe!
Yeah, I've got him at Raider as well. I think Raider is by far the best class of him. When you apply Raider to a character, they're generally gonna have a kit which attacks multiple enemies. And Spider-Man's got that for every single attack. He attacks multiple targets on every single attack of his. So he's got a higher crit chance, from the ISO class itself, and his ultimate, especially his ultimate. I think it goes without saying Raider's the best class for him.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite T4s. I did this so fast. I remember when he first came out. I was like, I have to T4 that, and then I looked at the rest of his kit, and I was like, well, I'm gonna just T4 him all over the place. But man, I love that this guy does everything, and yeah, he doesn't discriminate. He goes for everybody with his basic, with his special, with his ult. He's not satisfied by just hitting one character. He wants to hit everybody in their face. It's great. Mendox, what are you doing with your Symbiote Spider-Man?
I agree. I believe this is the exact same case as, Striker on Black Bolt, is that Raider's the optimum thing. He's hidden so many characters. He's thrown out so many vulnerabilities. He gets the increased damage from them as well. I haven't got Spider Slingshot. That's the only T4 I'm missing on him at the moment. But he's also so versatile in other teams as well. So, I've gone Raider. And I think, statistically speaking too, I think you actually get more damage from Raider than Striker. His basic's okay. Defense down's pretty good, but throwing out all those vulnerabilities it's too good.
And that extra crit damage. Yes. Scooter, thank you so much for the follow. Welcome to Ken's Army, by the way. Perfect. Who is, last but not least, Moon Dancer? Moon, what are you doing with the king?
He's a raider. Like, he was built as a raider. He's going to be a raider. He's raiding. He's stacking multiple vulnerabilities on that basic sometimes when he rebounds back to the primary target. So you're getting 2 vulnerability stacks there sometimes. Like, he's just an absolutely phenomenal character that is not farmable.
That is not farmable.
If you're a new player, sorry.
That is not farmable.
He is quote unquote farmable.
I mean,
some people obtainable and obtainable.
Some people say that they don't see him at all in the milestone orbs. I do save about like 10 orbs, and then I check my pulls and I'll get like 10 shards from him. So I'm getting very lucky on him, but he's definitely not farmable. I don't care what anybody says. I'm just getting lucky with him. But yeah, I think everybody, for the most part, or I think everybody actually agreed on him being a raider. Like I said, this guy doesn't discriminate. He just wants to make sure that everybody feels his wrath on the field, and the extra crit damage too as well just does wonders for him. And if we can get vulnerables in place in addition to what Carnage is doing on the field, then the more the merrier when it comes to the vulnerables. So perfect.
His existence really tells you that Spider-Man just isn't useful. He's Spider-Man plus.
Yeah. Spider-Man.
He's the legendary Spider-Man without being legendary.
Pretty much. I mean, talk about a legendary character without wearing the legendary tag. Very similar to, I think, Emma. Emma's the same way. But man, these two characters, when Symbiote Spider-Man came out, everybody was like, why is he not a legendary with that kit? It almost didn't make sense. Well, I don't know if they necessarily knew how much his value was going to be, but he came in and he took names. That's all I'm going to say.
They had to know how good he was.
Yeah, for sure. Well, guys, Symbiote team, like I said, I think some characters were definitely easier to see that everybody's doing mainly the same thing on them. And then, of course, some other characters like Anti-Venom and Scream, multiple classes might be beneficial for them. And I think it's also depends at what level you have your Symbiotes at, or what level, how many stars you have in a particular character. You may want to change up your classes. But we're going to give this a shot. We're going to go into a blitz battle right now. And we have Symbiote Spider-Man as a raider. We have Carnage as a skirmisher, and we have 3 strikers. This could also change down the line, but we're gonna see how this team performs against. Who do you guys want them to go against? Definitely not Black Order.
All right, fellas, I'm about to head out.
All right, Dapper. Thank you so much for joining the call.
No problem. Whenever you need me, just let me know.
All right, buddy. Nice seeing you again.
Here we go.
Well, likewise.
Later, Dapper.
Let's go into this defender team. This defender team has some ISOs in place. And once again, we're just gonna.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you, man dogs.
And lots of love to the Ken Army.
Lots of love all the time. Thank you, man dogs. Big shout out to man dogs. Part of the MSF roundtable, as you guys know. Always comes in to drop some love.
Yeah, you guys have a great one. Ciao.
And we're gonna check them out. If you guys want to see them with other ISOs as well, we can. But I think this was the majority decision when it came to the the ISO classes that we wanted to do with them. So we're gonna start off by doing a basic here with Carnage on
Punisher.
And then we're gonna follow it up with, as we said, the Raider. We're gonna go with Symbiote Spider-Man. And in this one, I'm also gonna be doing a basic. I just wanna put defense down. So no vulnerables landed in there. That's okay, but we're gonna do either the basic or the special with Scream. I'm gonna do the special for the offense down. And then she's gonna go back for more. Ends up landing another bleed on Punisher here. So here's the one that we were, I think there was a lot of controversy on Anti-Venom, and we're gonna look at his ult here and what it does, and I'm gonna slow it down. So we end up
mainly
getting,
me for controversy.
oh my god. There's no point. We just got all the buffs right there. I wanted Punisher to survive a little bit more. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little bit disappointed there, because now there's no vulnerables or anything for Venom to get that double tap in, and either way, that's okay. We're gonna put ability block here on Luke Cage so that he doesn't grant defense up to the rest of the team. For Scream, no matter what, she bites the dust with me every single time. I'm actually gonna do here is start to get rid of Iron Fist, so I'm gonna ult here. And then since that already has defense down, I'm gonna try and go over here, and actually I'm gonna see if I can get Iron Fist out, and I do get him out. And then we also land a vulnerable here with JJ, so double tap from Striker, from Anti-Venom. Unfortunately, it is JJ, and she resists the crap out of everything. God, she's so annoying. And here I'm gonna do special. And I think this one's already done.
I don't understand JJ. I really don't understand how her resist works sometimes. Sometimes she has the most ridiculous amount of resist, and sometimes you can just stick whatever debuffs on. I don't get it.
Yeah, I think after you stick like one debuff on her, then the rest tend to stick. But it's just those initial debuffs don't want to stick on her most of the time. Alright guys, that is Symbiotes with the classes that we selected with them. You can make a case for maybe one of them to also become Skirmisher in addition to the 3 strikers, because we do have 3 strikers in this team. But then again, if Symbiote Spider-Man ends up landing more vulnerables in place, then you do want those strikers on the field. So either way, Symbiotes are an amazing team. I think that you guys can see for yourselves that there's definitely opportunities to do other classes with them as a whole, and they're gonna be good for a long time. Very, very good for a long time. Is there another class that you guys want to see for them, or are you guys satisfied with the classes for this all together when it comes to the faction itself?
At some point, maybe take them through. I don't know if you've got raids open to put them in a raid, because that's where they
can do that right now too. Here, this is pretty much where we use them too. So we could do that. We'll do one node.
Yeah, it just makes sense, because like they are the premier raid team at this point in the game.
Yeah. All right, so let's look at them in raids, and then based on what's happening here, if you guys want to see a different ISO class, we can change it. I think in here, since there's so many more characters too on the field, this is where Symbiote Spider-Man tends to shine when he ends up doing that ult as well. It seems like every time multiple characters end up getting vulnerable in place too.
Are you in 7.5?
7.5. This is U7.5. Yes. All right.
Awesome.
So out of all things, this is probably the most challenging out of all U7 runs. And then what we're gonna do in here is we already have vulnerable in Carnage right there. I think I'll be able to put ability block over there on Luke Cage in a little bit. All right, so I stacked the vulnerables there with that basic. Both of them got it. So in this case, I'm gonna actually do basic here. Going back for more there. And then we're gonna be doing
And for those watching, notice how he got one character into the red with bleeds, and he's moving on to the next one because he's already got the speed up, and so those ones will die on their turn.
Yeah. And which is what you want to do a lot of times with them. It's just get into the red, gain that extra turn meter with them. and then move on to the rest of the team. So we have vulnerable there on Luke Cage right now. And I'm probably going to do basics here. Daredevil hits a little bit different. I'm actually gonna get Luke Cage more to the red. Coming back for more. And we're gonna do, who do I want to put the disrupt here? I'm gonna do this team. Disrupt, and then since he had vulnerable, I get that extra attack too on Luke Cage as well. So from here on out, I'm gonna get the double tap here. This should kill Punisher or get him really low. Got him really low. And then we're gonna spread the love here. I think we're gonna spread the love from Captain America so that we can get Daredevil involved in that corner. He's just lonely in that corner.
Yeah, the disrupt works well on Venom just in case he gets health back up.
Yeah. And then what we're gonna do here is stun Venom. No vulnerables in place, but that's okay. We're gonna do the basic here to get rid of the defense up. More basics again. More basics again.
This team is just basics, pretty much.
This is why anti-Ford all the basics too on this team, by the way. They're basic after basic after basic. My God, you just do wonders with them when it comes to what they do with their basics. From here on out, I'm gonna just do a lot of offense down. And then we're down to the last 4 characters, so I am going to do basics a lot to have cooldowns ready for my next node.
Using Black Bolt in nodes, it does take a bit more time with the full symbiote team. You need to do some time management on some of the bigger nodes.
Something I do miss when I run full symbiotes is that burp from Black Bolt. I think I've told you that. Like, it's just, I was so used to, especially before Anti-Venom came out, just always having that burp right when they turned red. Doesn't happen anymore, so I miss that. However, man, are they fun. They're amazing. As you guys can see, I think that you can definitely take advantage of them being set up with the ISO classes that we have in place for them. Symbiotes are nothing to laugh about nowadays. They're definitely one of the premier teams to work on, and I've done T4s on all their basics as of now. Some T4s, as you guys saw, Symbiote Spider-Man has all the T4s in place for them. Anti-Venom has a lot of T4s. You can pretty much put T4s, all the T4s on this team, and they just wreck some nerds, guys. But yeah, Symbiote Spider-Man, Carnage, Anti-Venom, Venom, and Scream. The Symbiote team, probably the premier raid team nowadays. Use 7.5, at least on the outside lane. I get pretty far. I pretty much finish my lane every single time. And it's a big thank you to the team, especially with the ISO classes that I've set up for them. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that. Next week, what is going to be our next faction of discussion? Do you guys want to do mercs? Mercs is a big faction to talk about. There's a
big faction.
The big faction.
What else do we have?
So we could definitely look at mercs.
What has been done already?
We have done as Guardians. We have done Black Order. We have done. Yeah, it's better if I just go over the ones that we haven't discussed yet.
I actually feel like Wave 1 Avengers is kind of hot right now too.
Yeah, we can talk about Wave 1. We haven't done Wave 1. We haven't done Sinister 6 either. Doc Ock Sinister 6. We still haven't done Sinister. We haven't done Supernatural. We haven't done Young Avengers. We haven't done Power Armor, Hydra, and Wave 1. And Pimp Tech, but I don't have Yellow Jacket, so I want to wait till I have Yellow Jacket. I'm seeing Wave 1. I'm seeing Avengers. So, and then could do merge now that Red Skull is farmable.
I think, yeah. I mean, is there any particular order that this goes, or is this just a sort of suggested?
No, I just asked what the masses wants to see when it comes to what we're doing with ISO. This community.
Oftentimes we try to tie it to if there's like a event.
There's a legendary coming up, yeah.
Or, that's why I was going to ask if X-Men was done, because obviously X-Men are pretty much being released next week, so we can discuss about that. But if it's already been done, then
so X-Men, even though we did them, since they're going to be changing factions once we have the newer X-Men, we're going to have to revisit X-Men too. Since we're going to have pretty much 2 different teams to work on, so. Even though we did X-Men already with the teams that we have in place, the characters that we have in place, that's one thing that we will revisit once those characters have come out.
What about X-Force? Has that been done?
Yep, that was the last one. We just did it last week.
Okay.
Yeah, Wave 1, I feel like, because I think that some of the Wave 1 Avengers are going to be on the short list for DD4.
DD4 as well.
We've seen at least 2 of them being used in one-shots in DD4.
Yeah.
So something to consider.
Okay. All right, guys. So next week, we're going to be doing Wave 1 Avengers. Once again, I want to thank Mendogs. I want to thank Dapper. Bombay. I got to say it like that. Otherwise, it doesn't count. And Moon Dancer for joining this call. Like I always tell you guys, anybody's always more than welcome to join the call. I appreciate you guys. ISO Community Wednesday. Next week, Wave 1.